They thought I was just a sweet old lady, a relic. They didn't know I practically invented the game they're trying to play. They're about to find out. Don't miss what happens next. Hit that subscribe button and follow my story. My name is Margaret, and for the last 10 years, my world has been my son, Leo, and my small garden in Pasadena. When my husband Frank passed, he left me with a comfortable home, a stable pension, and a hole in my heart that only Leo could fill. I baked, I knitted. I became the textbook sweet old lady, the quiet mother who offered lukewarm tea and a listening ear. I was harmless. I was background noise. At least that's what they thought. Leo is my boy, even if he's 34 and just sold his tech startup for a figure that makes my head spin. 8 figures, Mom, he told me, beaming. We're set. You're set. He's a good boy. He has Frank's kind eyes and my stubborn chin. But he's always had a blind spot. He believes everyone is as good-hearted as he is. He's a lamb in a world of wolves, and the head wolf, it turns out, is named Chloe. She breezed into his life 6 months ago. All wind chime laughs, yoga retreats, and perfectly filtered Instagram posts. She was, as the kids say, bougie. She was also 25, impossibly beautiful, and seemed to adore my son. She'd call me Mama M, and I'd smile until my cheeks ached, even as my gut twisted into a knot. There was something in her eyes, a kind of high-speed calculation, that reminded me of the men Frank used to bring home from his poker games, men who smiled right before they cleaned out your wallet. Mom, I'm bringing Chloe to dinner tonight, and her uncle Marcus is in town. He's like a father to her. I want you all to meet, Leo had said, his voice crackling with excitement. We're going to Spago, my treat. Spago, of course. A place where a single salad costs more than my weekly grocery bill. A place designed to impress. I put on my good beige cardigan and my pearls, the ones Frank gave me on our 20th anniversary. I looked every bit the part. The dowdy, slightly bewildered mother, trotted out for a special occasion. The restaurant was loud, filled with sharp suits and sharper faces. Leo was radiant, holding Chloe's hand like it was a winning lottery ticket. And then there was Marcus. If Chloe was sunshine and razor blades, Marcus was a velvet sledgehammer. He wore a suit that probably cost more than my first car, a thicket of perfect gray hair, and a smile that never, ever reached his eyes. Margaret, he said, taking my hand. His skin was too smooth. Leo has told us so much about you. It's a pleasure to finally meet the woman who raised this genius. I smiled. Leo's always been a good boy. Dinner was a performance. Chloe talked about her non-profit for saving something. It was vague. Marcus talked about global markets and leveraged portfolios. I just nodded, the quiet, invisible mother, a potted plant in a beige cardigan. I watched Chloe touch my son's arm, her red nails a stark contrast to his plain watch. I watched her laugh, a sound like tiny, expensive bells, at everything he said. And my son, my brilliant, naive son, was glowing. He was in love, or at least he was in something. Mom, you're so quiet, Leo said, turning to me, his brow furrowed with genuine concern. Just taking it all in, dear, I said, patting his hand. It's all very grand, Chloe laughed. Isn't it? Leo spoils us, but Mama M, you deserve it. We're family now. Almost, Marcus corrected, raising his glass of whiskey. To almost. The mask slipped for just a second. The moment came when Leo's phone buzzed. Oh, shoot, he said, looking at the screen. It's the lawyers. This is the final sign-off on the acquisition. I have to take this. I'll be right back. Don't let them bully you, Mom. He kissed my temple and hurried toward the lobby. I was left with the two of them, the orchestra. I sipped my water. I smiled my harmless little smile, and I waited. They let the silence sit for a moment. 2 predators waiting for the prey to leave the clearing. Finally, Chloe let out a long, theatrical sigh. God, he is so pure. It's almost basic. Marcus chuckled, swirling his drink. Don't get sentimental, Chloe. He used her name like it was a joke. Purity is a liability. Is the prenup handled? Handled, Chloe said, pulling out a lip gloss. As in deleted. I told him the very idea was an insult to our trust. He ate it up. He's literally adding my name to the primary brokerage account the day after the wedding. For convenience, he said. The convenience of a clean exit, Marcus said. His voice was flat, all business. The final tranche from the sale hits his account on Monday. We move the second we're back from the honeymoon. Consolidate. Move it to the Delaware Shell, then to the Caymans. Quick and clean, just like the guy in Austin. My blood didn't run cold. It turned to ice. The guy in Austin. This wasn't a whirlwind romance. It was a business model. Chloe pouted, applying a layer of gloss. Ugh, the Austin guy was such a drama queen. All that crying. Leo's sweeter. I almost feel bad for this one. What about her? She flicked her eyes toward me. I was still sitting there, hands folded in my lap. Marcus took a slow sip. He looked at me like I was a piece of furniture he was deciding whether to keep or burn. A non-issue, he said, his voice bored. She's a relic. She probably thinks a brokerage account is where you buy tacky jewelry. By the time he realizes the money's gone, we'll be ghosts. She'll be in a state-run nursing home and he'll be bankrupt. She won't know what hit her. They both smiled, a shared satisfied ugly thing. They turned back to their drinks, having dismissed me. I was nothing, a sweet, stupid old woman. But they didn't know me. They didn't know Frank didn't just play poker. He was a corporate lawyer, and I wasn't just a homemaker. For 30 years, I wasn't just Margaret. I was M.L. Henderson, the lead forensic accountant at Sterling and Vance. I didn't just run the books. I was the shark who hunted other sharks. I was the one they called when millions disappeared, the one who could find a single-cent discrepancy in a mountain of data. I retired because I was tired, not because I was stupid. Delaware Shell, Tranche, Caymans. They weren't just speaking English. They were speaking my language. Leo walked back to the table, his face flushed with victory. It's done! It's all signed. The money is officially on its way. Oh, baby. Chloe squealed, jumping up to kiss him. That's amazing. We have to celebrate. Marcus raised his glass. To the future. I raised my glass of water, my hand perfectly steady. To the future, I repeated, my voice soft. I looked at Chloe, really looked at her. Her perfect skin, her hungry eyes. I looked at Marcus, his polished, predatory calm. They thought they were hunting my son. They thought I was a sheep, standing by. They didn't realize they had just walked into the shepherd's trap. And this shepherd, well, I haven't lost a lamb yet. The game was on. The ride home from Spago was a blur of expensive headlights and valet stands. Leo, bless his heart, chattered the whole way. Didn't you just love them, Mom? Chloe is. She's just everything. And Marcus is so sharp. He's been giving me some amazing financial advice. He seems very experienced, dear, I said, my voice as smooth and bland as oatmeal. I kept my hands folded in my lap, the pearls at my neck feeling less like jewelry and more like armor. Experienced. That was one word for it. Predatory was another. See? I knew you'd like them. He beamed, pulling up to my quiet, tree-lined street. He was so happy, so full of that blinding, idiotic light that love, or the performance of it, ignites in a good man. He walked me to the door. You're the best, Mom. Thanks for coming. It meant the world to me. Always, Leo. Always. I kissed his cheek, my mind a million miles away, already mapping out shell corporations and wire transfer protocols. You get home safe. Big week ahead. He hugged me, and for a second I just held on. This was the lamb I was saving. This was my son. The anger I felt was a physical thing, a cold, heavy weight in my chest. It wasn't the hot, flashy anger of a spat. It was the sub-zero, patient anger of an iceberg, the kind that sinks ships. I closed the door, locked the deadbolt, and stood in my silent, dark hallway. The house smelled like cinnamon and old books. The sweet old lady part of me wanted to go to bed, to write this off as a misunderstanding. But M.L. Henderson, the part of me I'd boxed up with my old pantsuits, was wide awake. She was pissed. I didn't turn on the lights. I walked through the living room, past the knitted Afghans and the photos of Leo in his graduation cap, and went straight to my study. I flicked on one small desk lamp. My personal laptop was a standard store-bought machine I used for recipes and email. I didn't touch it. Instead, I went to my closet, behind the shoe boxes and the winter coats, and pulled out an old, ugly, heavy black briefcase. Frank's old briefcase. I set it on the desk. The combination lock snapped open with a satisfying click-click. Inside, nestled in aged foam, was a matte black laptop. It was 10 years old, ran on a Linux build I'd customized myself, and had no wireless card. It was a brick. A clean, offline, untraceable brick. I plugged it in, along with a separate encrypted hard drive. The machine booted up with a simple text-based prompt. No pretty icons, no friendly welcome screen. Just work. "All right, Chloe and Marcus," I whispered into the quiet room. "Let's see who you really are." They'd made their first mistake, underestimating me. Their second mistake was getting specific. Delaware Shell, Caymans, the guy in Austin. They'd given me parameters. They'd given me a breadcrumb trail. I started with the guy in Austin. I didn't have a name, but I had a method. I started running complex searches on public records databases, looking for high net worth divorces, sudden bankruptcy filings, or fraud claims in Travis County, Texas over the last 2 or 3 years. I was looking for a specific profile, a self-made man, recently engaged or married, followed by a catastrophic financial loss. While the searches ran, I put my own house in order. I logged into my real bank accounts, the ones Leo didn't know about. The ones I'd built for 30 years as M.L. Henderson. The ones Frank and I had structured so well, they were practically invisible. I wasn't just a comfortable widow. I was loaded. Not 8-figure startup loaded, but I could buy and sell Marcus without breaking a sweat. And I had a network. At 2:00 a.m., I picked up my phone. Not my smartphone, but an old-school burner phone I kept in the same briefcase. I punched in a number I hadn't dialed in 5 years. It rang 3 times. A gravelly voice answered, wide awake. "You're either in trouble or you're dead." "Still kicking, Artie," I said. A low chuckle. "Margaret, I'll be damned. I figured you were off baking cookies for the grandkids. Artie Jacobs. He used to be the best PI in the business, a digital ghost who could find anyone. He owed me. I'd saved his son from a nasty embezzlement frame-up back in 2009. I need a favor, Artie. Off the books. Top shelf priority. For you? Anything. What's the play? I need Faces Run. 2 of them. And I need everything you can find on a global markets guy named Marcus. No last name. And a girl named Chloe. They're grifters. High level. They're targeting my son. Shit, Marge. You got pics? Not yet. But I will. For now, I'm sending you a file. I'm looking for a pattern. The guy in Austin. Ring any bells? Austin. Yeah, maybe. Tech guy. Went belly up about 18 months ago. Name was Peters. David Peters. Sued his new wife, but she'd already bounced. Wiped him out. Cops said it was civil, not criminal. Classic shark move. That's my guy, I said, a grim satisfaction settling in. Start there. I need a name for the girl. The real one. And I need to know about Marcus. I'm on it. You stay safe, Marge. These ain't the kind of guys who play nice. They're accountants, Artie, I said, looking at my screen. And I'm better. I hung up and turned back to my brick. My searches had borne fruit. David Peters. Filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy exactly 16 months ago. His assets, $12.4 million, liquidated and transferred to an offshore account in the span of 72 hours. His new wife, Amber Peters, née Amber Smith, disappeared the same day. There was a grainy courthouse photo. It wasn't Chloe. But the smile was the same. The eyes were the same. It was a different face, but the same shark. She'd had work done. Good work. This wasn't a two-person operation. This was a franchise. Chloe was just the new face on the assembly line. Marcus's was the manager. I spent the rest of the night digging. I found the Delaware Shell Company registry. I started tracing the Marcus M. Well, he didn't exist. The name was a ghost. But the method did. The transfer patterns, the specific legal loopholes. I'd seen this signature before. Years ago. A case in Zurich. A shadow banker known only as the janitor. He didn't just move money. He scrubbed it, made it vanish. I leaned back, the first rays of dawn painting my quiet study in shades of gray. They weren't just going to rob my son. They were going to erase him. Professionally, legally, financially. He'd be left holding a bag of debt and a deleted prenup, while they were on a beach, laughing. My phone buzzed. A text from Leo. "Morning, Mom. Headed to the gym with Chloe. Feel bad we kept you out so late. Love you." I picked up my smartphone, my grandma phone. My fingers, stiff from typing on the brick's heavy keys, tapped out a reply. "Good morning, dear. Not at all. It was a lovely evening. I was thinking, could I help with some of the wedding place cards? My calligraphy is still pretty good. Love you too." The trap had to be perfect. If I warned him, they'd scatter. They'd just disappear, and Leo would be heartbroken, always wondering if I was the one who'd ruined his happiness. He'd never believe me. No, I couldn't just stop them. I had to let them walk right into it. They wanted to use a Delaware shell? Fine. They wanted to move money to the Caymans? Be my guest. But the account they were going to drain, it wasn't going to be Leo's. It was going to be mine. And the bank they were wiring it to? That was going to be M.L. Henderson, proprietor. I looked at the ugly black laptop. "Class is in session, kids," I said. The next morning, my phone lit up with a reply from Chloe. "OMG Mama M. That's the sweetest. Calligraphy. So vintage, come over. We're drowning in Wedman." The fake enthusiasm was so thick I could have frosted a cake with it. Wedmin, short for wedding administration, a term designed to make a monumental task sound cute and trivial. My task was anything but. I packed a tin of my signature lemon shortbread cookies, the ones Leo loved, the ones that screamed harmless old lady, and drove my sensible sedan to Leo's gleaming, glass and steel condo. Chloe answered the door in a silk robe that probably cost my monthly utility budget. "Mama M, you came. And you brought goodies," she chirped, her voice an octave too high. "Just a little something to keep your strength up," I said, smiling my beige, unassuming smile. "Where should I set up?" "I brought my special pens." "Oh, just anywhere," she said, waving vaguely toward the massive marble dining table. "Leo's on a super important call and Marcus is on his way. We're finalizing the stuff, I see." I sat down, pulling out my box of envelopes, my pens, and my inkwell. I was a museum exhibit, the quaint old mother. Chloe put on some loud, throbbing music with a bass line that rattled my teeth and tapped away on her phone, taking selfies with a pout that looked like it had been surgically installed. I carefully, meticulously began to address the first envelope. My hand was steady. My calligraphy, as I'd told Leo, was still very good. Marcus arrived an hour later, not even bothering to knock. He walked in like he already owned the mortgage, which I supposed was his plan. He was all business, his eyes dark and impatient. He and Chloe immediately went into the kitchen, their voices dropping to low, urgent murmurs. They thought the music covered their conversation. They were wrong. An old woman's hearing is selective, dear. We filter out the nonsense, but we always hear the whispers. "Finalizing the transfer protocol," Marcus was saying, his voice a low growl. "First sovereign in the Caymans is ready. The Vantage account is hot. The minute his sale funds clear, we trigger the transfer." Vantage. "Thank you, Marcus. Vantage Holdings LLC. A classic anonymous name. What about him?" Chloe asked, her voice losing its sugary edge, turning sharp. "He's starting to ask questions. Not real questions, but why does the bank need this form again? Why can't we just use our joint account? He's like a golden retriever. Annoying. You handle the retriever with Chloe." That's your job, Marcus snapped. Keep him happy, keep him stupid. It's 2 more days. I'll handle the bank forms. Just then, Leo emerged from his study, rubbing his eyes. Hey, Mom, you made it. He looked exhausted, but he smiled when he saw me. Wow, Mom, those look incredible. Right, Chloe? Totally, she said, instantly transforming, rushing over to kiss him. Babe, you look fried. Let me get you a smoothie. She was the perfect, doting fiancée. I felt the bile rise in my throat and forced a smile. Marcus, Leo said, nodding to him. Sorry, that call was a nightmare. Did you get the thing? Right here, Leo, Marcus said, pulling a sleek, razor-thin laptop from his briefcase. He didn't use a standard machine. This was something specialized. Just need your final e-signature on the honeymoon package insurance waiver. The resort is very strict. It has to be done through their secure portal. It was a lie, and it was a bad one. But Leo was tired, and he was in love. Right. Leo started to reach for the laptop. Oh dear, I said, standing up a bit too quickly. My hand, the one holding the shortbread tin, wobbling. Leo, honey, you look famished. Have a cookie before you do any more work. Mom, not now. I insist, I said, moving toward him, positioning myself perfectly between Leo and Marcus. And then the oops moment I'd been practicing in my head. I tripped over the edge of the expensive rug. Oh my heavens! I didn't spill the cookies. That would be a waste. No, I stumbled forward, my arm lurching out to catch my balance. Right onto the hand Marcus was using to hold his laptop. The machine didn't fall, but it jolted violently. Margaret! Marcus roared, his face turning thunderous. The Mama M was gone. The mask had slipped. Oh my goodness. Marcus, I am so sorry, I fluttered, my heart thumping with manufactured panic. My goodness, I'm just so clumsy. Did I break it? I reached out, dabbing at the screen with the napkin from the cookie tin. Oh, look at this. Such a fancy screen. Vantage Holdings portal. My, that sounds important. Is that the insurance? His eyes. If looks could kill, I would have been cremated, boxed, and buried. He snapped the laptop shut so fast it sounded like a gunshot. It's fine, he hissed, his face pale with rage. He was angry he'd been startled, but he was furious that the old woman had seen the screen. I'll just get you some water, I stammered, shuffling away, playing the part of the terrified, senile old woman to the hilt. Mom, it's okay, Leo said, rushing over to me. It was an accident. Marcus, chill. It's just a laptop. Of course, Marcus said, visibly recomposing himself, forcing a smile that looked like a scar. My apologies, Leo, just a lot of pressure. Margaret, please, don't worry. No harm done. I sat back down at the table, my hand shaking just enough for them to see. I'm so sorry, I whispered. I'll just be quiet over here. I finished the invitations in silence. Leo and Chloe went for a walk. Marcus stayed, finishing his work in the kitchen. He was locking things down. He was worried. Good. That night, back in my study, I didn't call Artie. He called me. My burner phone vibrated once, a summons. Talk to me, I said. Julian Thorne, Artie's voice crackled. You're Marcus, disbarred in London. 08. Suspected of laundering money for the Bratva before he dropped off the map. He is not a guy to mess with, Marge. He's the janitor. He makes people disappear, not just their money. And the girl, Svetlana Petrov, Moldovan, picked up by Thorne's network about 5 years ago. Multiple faces, multiple names. Amber in Austin was her. Chloe is just the new build. I'm sending you their real photos. And Marge, I got his private email, the one he uses for his banking. It's encrypted, but the address is solid. Good work, Artie. Send it. Marge, seriously, what's your play? You're dealing with a professional sociopath and his protege. This isn't some white-collar nerd from accounting. I know exactly what they are, Artie, I said, looking at my black laptop. They're just thieves with good suits. And thieves get greedy, I hung up. I now had the shell company name, Vantage Holdings, LLC. I had the shadow banker's real name, Julian Thorne. And I had his private email address. The trap was no longer theoretical. I spent the next 4 hours building a ghost. I didn't just spoof an email from First Sovereign Bank in the Caymans. I built a perfect pixel-for-pixel replica of their entire online secure client portal. It was my masterpiece. Then, I crafted the email. It was a work of art. Subject: urgent, security protocol update, account, Van D, to be dear Mr. Thorne. As part of our commitment to client security and in compliance with new international anti-laundering protocols, First Sovereign requires all non-domestic holding accounts to re-verify their primary transfer en route prior to any large sum acquisitions. Your pending transfer from the L Acquisition Fund is currently flagged. Please log in to our secure portal to confirm your account details and prevent a mandatory 45-day hold on the funds. Click here to access the secure verification portal. It was, as the kids say, chef's kiss. The bait wasn't just bait. It was his worst nightmare, a 45-day hold. He wouldn't risk that. He'd be arrogant. He'd be annoyed at the red tape. He'd click. And when he confirmed his account numbers in my fake portal, he wouldn't be confirming his own. He'd be entering a new set of routing and account numbers provided by me, which he thought were his. He'd be changing the destination of the wire transfer himself. I hit send. The wedding was in 2 days. The money cleared tomorrow. I shut down the brick. I went to the kitchen and baked a coffee cake for the morning. After all, I was just the sweet, harmless mother of the groom, and I had a lot to do. The morning of the rehearsal dinner, I was in my study before the sun came up. The air was still, and the only light came from the green text-only display of my brick. I wasn't drinking coffee. My nerves were humming on their own. I was running a diagnostic on the fake portal I'd built. It was 5:00 a.m. And then, bingo, a login. At 3:17 a.m., my heart didn't race. It settled. It was a cold, hard, satisfying thump. He was here. The IP address was a ghost, routed through a server in Estonia, then bounced off another in Singapore before it hit my little server. It was sloppy, for him. He was in a hurry. He was annoyed. My phishing email, with its threat of a 45-day hold, had worked perfectly. It had poked his arrogance. The log showed he spent exactly 90 seconds in my portal. He'd clicked the Verify Account link. He'd seen the pre-filled and fake routing and account numbers, my account numbers naturally, and he had hit the Confirm button. He hadn't just taken the bait. He'd swallowed the rod, the reel, and the fisherman. With his own hands, Julian Thorne had rerouted the entire heist. The destination was no longer Vantage Holdings LLC in the Caymans. The new destination was a very boring, very legitimate, 30-year-old high-interest trust account at Chase Manhattan, under the name M.L. Henderson. I shut down the brick. The trap was set. All that was left was for the rabbit to run into the snare. The rehearsal was at a botanical garden that was so beautiful it was offensive. Everything was dripping in white roses and rustic chic burlap. Leo, my lamb, looked like he'd been run over by a truck and then dressed by a magazine. He was pale, sweating in his linen suit, but his eyes, God, his eyes were just pinned on her. Chloe, or Svetlana as I now thought of her, was a vision. She was wearing a white sundress that made her look like a literal angel. She was all anyone could look at. She was playing the part of a lifetime, and she was, I had to admit, slaying it. "Mama M," she cried, rushing over to hug me. The hug was dry like rustling paper. "I'm so glad you're here. I'm totally bugging out. Is it too much?" "Nonsense, dear," I said, patting her perfectly sculpted arm. "You look radiant. It's all very nice grand," she giggled. "You're so sweet." "Leo, baby, isn't your mom the sweetest?" Leo just nodded, his eyes vacant with love. The sweetest. Julian Marcus Thorne was standing by the ridiculously large floral arch on his phone. He wasn't even pretending to be a doting uncle. He was a shark, circling, waiting for the blood in the water. He gave me a curt nod. I gave him my best, "Oh, hello there," wave from the bingo hall. He ignored me. Perfect. The rehearsal dinner was in a private room at another restaurant I couldn't pronounce. The wine was flowing. Speeches were being made. I sat at the head table, the groom's mother, smiling until my face felt like it would crack. Leo stood up, his glass shaking a little. Wow. I just want to thank you all for being here. Especially this amazing woman. He looked at Chloe and the whole room awed. She's my everything. And to my mom. He turned to me. Who? Well, she's my other everything. A few polite laughs. And to Marcus. Thank you, man. Thank you for your guidance. And for everything. I couldn't have done this without you. Julian raised his glass, his smile a thin, bloodless line. You certainly couldn't have, you idiot! His eyes screamed. I sipped my Chardonnay. My burner phone, tucked in my good purse, was on silent vibrate. It was connected to Artie, who was my eyes on the federal wire system. My other phone, the grandma phone, was on the table. At 8:14 p.m., just as the entrees were being cleared, Leo's phone buzzed. He looked at it. Oh, sorry guys. It's the bank. The final transfer. Wow, it's done. The sale is officially 100% done. The money's in. A small cheer went up. Chloe literally squealed and jumped into his lap, kissing him messily. We're rich, baby, she shouted, and then, realizing what she'd said, covered her mouth. I mean, we're married almost. Oh, I'm just so excited. It was clumsy, but Leo didn't notice. Julian, however, did. His eyes, which had been bored, suddenly snapped into sharp focus. He looked at his own phone. He'd gotten the same alert. The prey was in the clearing. The money was live. He stood up. Leo, congratulations. Truly. If you'll all excuse me, he said to the table. I have to step out. An urgent call with London. The time difference is just brutal. He walked out of the private room, his expensive suit gliding. Chloe got a text a second later. I watched her read it. It was his go signal. Her job was now to distract the lamb while the butcher did his work. Oh, Leo, she cooed, snuggling into his neck. I'm so happy. I'm so in love with you. Let's get out of here. Who needs dessert? Let's go back to the condo. Now. Leo, dazed and love-drunk, just nodded. Whatever you want, my love. Oh my goodness, I said, standing up and dabbing my lips with a napkin. All this excitement. I think I just need to find the ladies' room and powder my nose. Don't let me stop you, kids. You run along. I shuffled out of the room, playing the confused old woman role. I didn't go to the restroom. I went down the hall. Julian hadn't gone outside. He'd gone to the business center, a small glass-walled office off the main lobby. He was too smart to do a multi-million-dollar wire transfer on a public patio. I saw him through the glass. He was sitting at a desk, his own sleek black laptop open, the one he'd guarded so viciously. He was logged in. He was in his real portal, the one he used to control his empire. He was initiating the transfer. He was moving my son's entire fortune. My burner phone vibrated. A text from Artie. He's in. He's moving the cash. I watched Julian. He was typing. He was focused. He clicked a final time. Confirm transfer. He leaned back, a small reptilian smile on his face. He was watching the progress bar. Transferring. My real phone, the grandma phone, buzzed on the table at the far end of the hallway. The bank alert incoming wire transfer pending XXXXXXXX from Actinity. He'd done it. The money was in my account. Julian's laptop screen must have flashed transfer complete. He closed it, a look of supreme satisfaction on his face. He'd just made 8 figures in a single night. He stood up, put the laptop in his briefcase, and turned to leave the business center. He opened the door and saw me standing at the end of the hall. He stopped. The hallway was empty. It was just us. Everything all right, Marcus? I asked, my voice as pleasant as Sunday breakfast. He didn't tense. He didn't look surprised. This, I realized, was the danger Artie warned me about. He just looked annoyed, like I was a fly. Shouldn't you be in bed, Margaret? I was just checking my bank account, I said, holding up my phone, the screen still lit with the incoming wire notification. It's funny. A very large deposit just appeared, from an ill acquisition fund. It looks like all of Leo's money. I watched his face. It was a masterpiece of control, but I saw it. A muscle in his jaw jumped. He hadn't just stolen the money. He'd lost it. You've been a busy old woman, he said, his voice dropping to a soft, cold purr. You have no idea, I said. You see, Julian, we can drop the Marcus, don't you think? You just personally, with your own login, transferred 8 figures of stolen money into a 30-year-old, fully taxed IRS-audited trust account. You didn't just fail to launder it, you purified it. It's the cleanest money in America right now, and it's all mine. He took one slow step toward me. The smile was gone. His eyes were flat, dead. "You're a clever, stupid old bitch," he whispered. "You just signed your own death warrant. Give me the phone." "I don't think so," I said, my hand steady. "And language, please." He took another step. He was fast. He grabbed for my wrist, his fingers like steel. "Mom?" The door to the private dining room opened. Leo stood there, his tie loosened. "Mom, Marcus, what's going on? You okay?" Julian froze. His hand was still on my wrist. He let go, but his eyes never left mine. They were black with a rage that was terrifying. "Oh, just fine, dear," I said, smoothing my sleeve. "Marcus was just congratulating me on what a wonderful son I raised." Julian forced the smile back on. It was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. "Of course. A wonderful and very, very lucky son." Leo stood in the hallway, his face a perfect mask of loving, naive confusion. "Mom, Marcus, what's going on? You okay?" Julian's hand was a steel claw on my wrist one second and a gentle, avuncular pat the next. He was an artist. "Of course, Leo," he said, his voice as smooth as aged whiskey. "Your mother and I were just marveling at how quickly life can change." I forced a smile, my pulse hammering against my ribs. "Yes, dear, just a financial chat." Right on cue, Chloe Svetlana appeared, a perfect, pouting vision. "Babe, I've had the car waiting for like ever. OMG, what's with the hallway convention? This party is so dead." She slid her arm through Leo's, physically pulling him away from me. Her eyes met Julian's. A message passed between them. Problem. Right, Leo said, allowing himself to be led. "Mom, you good? You need a ride?" "I'm perfectly fine, dear," I said, fluffing my hair. "You two run along. I'm just going to fetch my wrap." It was a memorable evening. They disappeared toward the valet. Julian stayed. He didn't move. He just watched me. He was giving me a choice. Run. See what happens. I didn't turn to get my wrap. I turned and walked straight toward the main exit, my sensible heels clicking on the marble. I didn't run. M.L. Henderson does not run. I walked to the valet, handed them my ticket, and waited, feeling his eyes burn a hole in the back of my cardigan. My car, my 10-year-old sedan, pulled up. As I got in, I saw him in my rearview mirror. He was standing on the curb, his phone to his ear, his face a mask of cold, controlled fury. The hunt was on. The second I turned the corner, I grabbed the burner phone. Artie, he knows. I'm mobile. He's loose, I figured. Artie's gravelly voice replied. "Don't go home. The house is a liability. He's not an accountant, Marge. He's a janitor. He will scrub you." "I know," I said, my voice tight. "He thinks I'm a relic. He'll check the house first. I'm going to the one place he'll never look." "The bingo hall?" "My office," I said, pulling onto the freeway. "The old Sterling and Vance building." "A ghost town high-rise?" "Secure. I like it. I'm sending a cleaner to your house. Not to clean, to stage. We'll make it look like you're home, tucking in with a cup of tea. He can watch an empty house all night. Get to your war room, Marge, and lock the damn doors." "They're already locked, Artie," I said, hanging up. The Sterling and Vance building was a dark monolith against the night sky. My old keycard still worked. The security guard, new and half asleep, barely looked up as the old lady who owns the place. I still held a minority stake, shuffled past the desk. My 30th floor office was a time capsule. It smelled like stale paper and old triumphs, but the high-speed hardline internet connection was, as I'd paid for, still blazing fast. I plugged in the brick. I was in my fortress. The financial revenge was complete. Now the personal one. I took out my grandma phone and dialed Leo. He was at his condo. He was with her. This was the most dangerous part. It rang 3 times. He answered, his voice a tense whisper. "Mom, it's like 1 a.m. What's wrong?" "Leo, I need you to listen to me," I said, my voice low and urgent. "Do not react. Do not ask questions out loud. Do not let her know you are talking to me. Just listen." A long, terrified pause. okay? You are in danger. Your life is not what you think it is. Chloe and Marcus are professional criminals. They were trying to steal your entire fortune tonight. I stopped them. The money is safe. It's with me, but they know I have it. And she knows they failed. Mom, what? That's insane, he whispered, his voice cracking. You're not making sense. Chloe's right here. She's asleep. Is she, Leo? Is she really? Or is Svetlana Petrov just a very good actress? Or maybe Amber Smith from Austin? She has range. What did you call her? You heard me. Go to her purse, Leo. The one she never lets you touch. The expensive one she calls her go bag. Go, quietly. Look in the secret lining. Look for a passport. Look for anything that doesn't say Chloe. I heard a fumbling, the rustle of covers, the soft zip of a bag, a choked, stifled sound. It wasn't a gasp. It was the sound of a man's entire world collapsing. Leo came back to the phone. He was breathing, but it was a broken sound. Mom. There's a passport. 2 of them, a Swiss one, and one from Moldova, and a driver's license for a Sarah from Texas. And cash. Mom, there's thousands of dollars in cash. What is going on? The lamb had finally seen the wolf. The rehearsal is over, Leo, I said, my voice turning to ice. The love story was a lie. They were going to clean you out and disappear tomorrow, leaving you bankrupt. But I took the money first, which means Julian, Marcus, is now a very desperate man. And Chloe is a cornered animal. Oh my God, he whispered. She's stirring. Get out, I commanded. Artie, my associate, is at your house right now where Julian is. I'm sending him to you. Go to the service entrance. Now, leave your phone. Leave your wallet. Leave everything. Just walk out. Can you do that for me, Leo? Mom, the wedding? There is no wedding, Leo. There's just a con artist in your bed who just failed to steal 8 figures. She is not a good person right now. Go! I hung up. I didn't have time to hold his hand. I turned to my brick. My burner phone rang. It was Artie. Marge, we have company. Black sedan, just like you said. He's watching your house. He's patient. He thinks you're in there. He's waiting for you to go to bed. Good, I said, my fingers flying across the keyboard. Let him wait. I'm sending him a bedtime story. I opened a secure, encrypted email client. I had a pre-written draft. I addressed it to a special inbox at the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI's White-Collar Crime Division, the SEC, and for good measure, the IRS Criminal Investigation Unit. Subject, pro bono case file, the janitor, Julian Thorne, and the Austin grifter, Svetlana Petrov. To whom it may concern, you've been looking for the janitor for over a decade. He got sloppy. He tried to rob my son. He failed. Attached, please find. 1. Full server logs from a private server, time-stamped, showing Julian Thorne's IP. Routed, but I backtraced it. Logging in and personally authorizing a wire transfer. 2. The complete time-stamped wire transfer receipt for XXXXXXXXXX initiated by Mr. Thorne from my son's L acquisition fund. 3. The destination account. My 30-year-old, fully taxed, IRS-audited trust account. He didn't just fail to launder the money. He purified it. It's the cleanest money in America. 4. A full dossier on Svetlana Petrov, aka Chloe, aka Amber, including her connection to the David Peters case in Austin. 5. A full dossier on Julian Thorne, including his disbarment file from London. He is armed, dangerous, and currently sitting outside my home at Margaret's home address in a black sedan. Plate number, Artie had already sent it. He's waiting to murder a sweet old lady. You're welcome, M.L. Henderson. I stared at the send button. This wasn't just revenge. This was a reckoning. This was a forensic takedown. I hit send. And in the silence of my old office, 30 floors above the city, I picked up my cold cup of tea and waited for the sirens. I hit send. The word hung in the digital void, a silent, invisible missile launched from a 30th floor window. Outside, the city was a tapestry of sleeping lights, oblivious. Inside my fortress, the silence was absolute. There was no undo. There was no recall. I had just set fire to a hornet's nest and emailed the fire department to come watch it burn. My part was done. Now, I waited for the professionals. For 10 minutes, I just sat. M.L. Henderson had finished her case. Margaret was just a grandmother-in-waiting, I supposed, though the wedding was now decidedly off. A grim chuckle escaped me. I wondered if I could get the deposit back on the botanical garden. My burner phone buzzed, a harsh, angry sound in the quiet. It was Artie. I picked up. Status. Showtime, Marge. His voice was pure gravel, alive with the hunt. I'm patched into a local street cam. You're not gonna believe this. Your house. It looks like Christmas came early. What do you see, Artie? He's still in the sedan. He's been texting, getting real antsy. But he's got new friends. 2 black Suburbans just appeared. No lights. No sirens. They sealed the block front and back. These aren't cops, Marge. This is the F in FBI. They're deploying. Big guns. Body armor. They think he's armed and dangerous. Just like you told him. I closed my eyes, visualizing the scene. The quiet thud of boots on my asphalt driveway. Is he? He's still in the car. He's just watching them. He thinks they're here for you. He thinks he's a civilian. Oh, this is priceless. Artie's voice got low. Okay, they're on the move. 4 guys to the front door, 4 to the back. They're not knocking, and wait for it. Flashbangs. They just blew your front door. My cleaner is gonna need a bonus. What about Thorne? What's Julian doing? He's pissed. He's out of the car. He's yelling at them. He's yelling, what the hell do you think you're doing? I'm a civilian! He's walking toward the commander. Artie went silent for a beat. Oh, you glorious, beautiful woman. Artie, talk to me. The commander just showed him a piece of paper. A warrant, I'm guessing. With his face on it. Thorne, he stopped. Marge, I can see his face from here. He's not angry anymore. He's not scared. He just looks confused. He's looking past the feds, at your house, at the empty windows. He just realized he wasn't the hunter. He was the bait. Good, I said, a single cold word. They're cuffing him. He's not resisting. He knows the game is over. He's a janitor, Marge, and you just took him to the cleaners. He's gone. They're loading him up. 1 wolf, in a cage. 1, I said. What about the other one? What about Leo? My guy has the asset, Artie said. Asset being his word for my son. Leo's safe. He's a basket case, Marge. Shaking, crying, the works. He's on his way to you. But Chloe, Svetlana, she's in the wind. The second she realized Leo was gone, she bolted. My guy saw her peel out of the garage. She's a runner. It doesn't matter, I said, already typing on my brick. I pulled up the dossier Artie had sent. Svetlana Petrov, Moldovan, real photos. I attached it to a new, fresh email. She's a high-value grifter with multiple passports fleeing the scene of a federal investigation. She won't be in the wind. She'll be on a no-fly list. I addressed the email to the head of the FBI task force I'd just contacted. Subject, FWD, loose end, Svetlana Petrov, fleeing. She's the one in the condo. She just fled. You'll find her at LAX, TBT, trying to get on a flight to Zurich or Dubai. She likes to fly Emirates. Don't let her ML shy hit send again. She won't make it to the freeway, Artie. God, I love working with you, Marge, he said, and I could hear the smile in his voice. The lamb is on his way to the 30th floor. I'm going dark. He hung up. I shut down the brick. I packed it away in its heavy black briefcase. I took the burner phone and dropped it into a cup of water from the cooler. It died with a sad final fizz. The case was closed. M.L. Henderson's work was done. I stood up, my joints cracking. I was just Margaret again, a tired old woman in a dark office, waiting for her son. An hour later, as the sky was turning from black to a bruised, heartbroken purple, there was a soft knock. I opened the heavy office door. There he was, my son, my Leo. He looked small. He looked like the 12-year-old boy I'd left home alone too often. His expensive linen suit was wrinkled, his hair was a mess, and his eyes... God, his eyes were shattered. He wasn't the lamb. He was the lambskin, discarded after the slaughter. Mom, he whispered. He didn't move. He just stared at me as if seeing me for the first time. Not as Mom, but as... this. Hello, dear, I said, my voice soft. "Come in. You look like you could use some coffee. I'm afraid they only have the instant stuff here." He walked in, his feet shuffling. He looked around the old dusty office. This is where you worked?" "This is where I hunt," I said gently. I sat him down in my old leather chair. He curled into it, wrapping his arms around himself. They arrested him," he said, his voice hollow. "Outside your house. I heard it on the radio in the car. They said he was waiting." "He was waiting for you?" "Yes. He was going to kill you, wasn't he? Because of me. Because I was so stupid." The tears finally came, hot and humiliated. I loved her, Mom. God, I'm such an idiot." "You're not an idiot, Leo," I said, sitting on the edge of the desk. "You're good. You see the world as you are, not as it is. That's my job." "And the money?" he asked, wiping his face, the final humiliating question. It's all gone, isn't it?" They took it all." I almost smiled. "Oh no, dear," I said, patting his knee. "It is most certainly not gone. It's safe. It's in an account that's been audited by the IRS for 30 consecutive years. It's the cleanest, safest, most boring money in the entire country." I stood up and grabbed my purse. "It's just not in your account right now. It's in mine. We can call it a management fee." We took the elevator down in silence. The sun was rising, painting the city in shades of orange and hope. We got in my old sedan. I drove us home, back to my quiet, tree-lined street. The yellow police tape was already gone. My front door was a splintered, gaping hole covered in plywood, but the house itself was fine. I put the kettle on. I turned on the small kitchen TV, and there she was. Chloe. Looking tired, angry, and anything but bougé, being led in handcuffs by 2 federal agents at LAX. The Chiron read, "International fraud ring busted in LA." Leo just stared, his coffee mug steaming in his hands. I set a plate of lemon shortbread cookies on the table. "The ones from the other day. They thought I was just a sweet old lady, Leo," I said, pouring my tea. "They thought I was a relic, harmless, invisible." "They were wrong," he whispered, picking up a cookie. "They were," I agreed. "They forgot something very important. A mother's love isn't just baking and hugs, dear. Sometimes it's forensic accounting." I smiled, raising my teacup. "Now eat. We have to find a good contractor to fix that door."